Okay, good afternoon. Thanks for everyone for turning up to our session today. We're going to be presenting on the ultimate guide to free VMware resources. My name's Graham Barker. I'm a VMware vExpert and also a VMTN forums moderator for VMware, and also a VMware blogger. And this is David.
Yep, and I'm with Dell EMC as a solutions architect. And today together we're basically going to be going over our top tools, focused on either bundled products, so either licenses that you already have and the products that you might get with those entitlements. Free tools are available for everybody. And then finally we're going to be looking at some of the additional community stuff. Hopefully from the end of this you may find some new products out of this, or you may know, but hopefully this will cover it off.
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is VMware Skyline. Now this is quite a new thing from VMware. It's free with a valid production support agreement, so as long as you have that, you can use this particular tool. It's an OVF that you deploy within your vSphere environment for free, and what it does is it reports back issues that it detects into a portal on VMware's webpage that you can access anywhere that you like. One of the benefits of running this is that it helps you obviously operationally, so you don't have to start looking at KBs, etc. for issues that you might find. It actually integrates with VMware GSS, so if you log a call with them, you can direct them to this, and it'll show you not just what the issue is, but also how to fix it. So that helps you with fixing those issues within your environment without wasting too much time. And obviously, you can see all the reports of things in here too. And it's available from skyline.vmware.com as a free download, as long as you have that support entitlement.
And interestingly, as it's mentioned on there is actually a new version being released tomorrow, so keep your eyes open for that.
The next thing we want to talk about is vVLA's login site for vCenter. So login site is actually part of the vVLA's suite, but if you've got a vCenter server license, you actually get a 25 OSI license for login site, depending on what version you're running. The benefit of login site is that it's an enterprise syslogger, so you can ship all of your VMware logs into this, up to 25 endpoints for absolutely no charge whatsoever. And with it being an enterprise product, you get these predefined dashboards and widgets which you can customize, but out of the box they will just work. They will look at what logs are coming into the system, and they will automatically pop up these dashboards for you for useful troubleshooting purposes. You can also use this to send logs from your hardware and other third-party software as well. And once again, there are already management packs for that, providing that you have a license for that outside of VMware licensing requirement. We also have a demonstration on the screen behind us at the moment, which shows how we can quite easily create an alert based on a particular event happening within your infrastructure. So we've demoed if a VM gets deleted, then you can get an email sent to perhaps your support team, and you might want to just check that that's valid. If it is, then you can immediately look at doing a restore from backup, so that might help you operationally as well. Yeah, and because it's enterprise level, we get this interactive analysis. So if we see a spike in the amount of alerts that are being triggered by login site, we can zoom into that, we can customize and filter them. Okay,
so moving on, we're going to look at tools now. So these are not bound to any licenses. They are free for everybody. The first one we're going to look at is Flings. So for those that haven't used VMware Flings, absolutely fantastic. They're essentially not for non-production use. However, they are some of the features that eventually do enter into the GA of VMware. So some of the tools and features. One that I use quite often is the Cross vCenter the Cross vCenter workload migration utility. And this tool is basically making use of the vSphere APIs that aren't publicly available within the web GUI to basically allow us to migrate workloads between different SSO domains. As I mentioned, obviously some of these tools, for example, the HTML5 web interface has made it into GA now, so it's not so relevant on this site. But essentially, they're produced by VMware as well as the community, and honestly, they are very useful at times.
Yeah, it's flings.vmware.com if you want to get hold of those, free to use, and also you can actually provide feedback on them directly, so that'll go straight back to the developers who are actively working on these within VMware. I think there's also community provided ones as well now, which is quite interesting. So moving on, the vSphere optimization assessment. This is effectively a cut-down free trial of the vVLA's Operations Manager solution, which you might be familiar with. But for this, the idea of this is you deploy the appliance within your vCenter server, and from there you configure it and you leave it for a period of time. And after that time's finished, we can run the reports. And the reports are really useful because they will look at all the virtual machines that have been running over that time period, and from that we can basically say, this VM has this much storage allocated to it, but it's never going to use it based on its forecast. So maybe you might want to right-size that and save some storage and get that back. So it's not just going to help you operationally, but it'll also help you from a cost perspective from running the data center as well. We also have some risk reports in here too, so if you're going to perhaps reach some maximums within vSphere, or if there's any events or tasks that are occurring which might deem a bit risky, those will appear in the report too. Yep, that's pretty straightforward. As I said, it's a free tool. You download it from VMware.com, and there's no licensing requirement for it.
And interestingly, there's obviously the assessments booth over there, which is actually covering this day in, day out for the next couple of days. So definitely worth taking a look if you haven't used it before. Moving on, pretty new tool in the VMware ecosystem, the Configuration Maximus tool. For those that have used the PDFs, this is essentially all the PDF data taken into essentially a central database, and it allows us to look at the maximums for vSphere, NSX, and vRealize. Its benefit, being able to really, when we're looking at upgrades or any sort of project where we need to see what we're doing for differences, we can basically take those two versions and we can then generate a nice simple report of what the differences are on those maximums. We can then take a CSV export of that, and if you obviously want to, make that an Excel table, that's fine. And yeah, it's there. So just a useful tool, very new. Obviously over time the maximums will increase.
Yep, configmax.vmware.com if you want to get hold of that. Again, totally free to use and pretty useful for upgrades and that kind of thing, as Dave said.
Oh. Stay.
So yeah, the next thing, I think it's GitHub.
Sorry, stuck in a loop, indefinite loop. Let's let this finish, there we are. Yep, so we're going to go to the dev side now. So GitHub, for those that haven't used it, a central repository, generally used for most of the open source projects out there. But in particular, there's a GitHub for VMware. On that GitHub, we've got Photon OS, Clarity UI, and various other repositories. But essentially, for those that are in the development world, if you haven't used GitHub, make use of it. There's opportunities to contribute to existing projects, as well as fork your own projects, and obviously do your own spin on some of these things. Highly active, and as I said, generally the de facto standard, so it integrates into most of the IDEs, in particular Visual Studio Code if you use that for any PowerShell, PowerCLI projects. Keeping on the theme of that, Slack. I don't know if anybody's used Slack before. Essentially, it's the IRC in the modern world, completely free to use. It exists of the, within the community, you've got the VMware employees, as well as generally for some very useful and very well-known coders within the community. There's channels focusing on specific technology, so if I'm a developer, I'm specifically looking at AWS, then I'll join that channel. You'll see questions there, I can post my own questions, and you'll get feedback very quickly, so make use of it. Yeah,
and while we're talking about community tools, there's VMware communities have a forum, so there's official VMware forums called the VMTN Technology Forums, and those are available again for free. You can sign up. There's already between 2 and 3 million users, and there are approximately 100 to 200 forums that are active at the moment. And they'll look at any VMware product that's out there, including all the new services like VMware Cloud, AWS. So if you have any questions on those, questions that you're looking at maybe using some of these services, or if you're already using them, you've got bugs or issues, even if you're out of support, for example, you might want to use the forums because you can't get hold of GSS. Absolutely feel free to use the forums. Because the community there is so large, you're guaranteed a result almost the same day, so pretty valuable tool from my point of view.
And unfortunately, that concludes this presentation. As I said, thank you for joining, everyone. All these links and everything else we discussed is on the website listed on the slide deck there, as well as additional stuff we haven't talked about because obviously we've been shortened down to 10 minutes. So hopefully you've taken something from this, and thank you for your time. Got any questions after this? Just come speak to us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, guys.